What is going on, X community? Exostomp here, and today, people, we're going to be doing, yes, finally, the post power rankings. I'm sorry, guys. By the way, I know I've been a little busy, but we're here at least.
No, stop.
God damn it! Well, joining me, as you as you have probably heard, is Burger,
Yo, so.
and we might have some few special guests depending on who's available, but it's gonna be mainly us two for right now. So might as well start off, since we're here, on the 16th/15th pick, or individual rankings at least.
Yeah.
Is going to be the Washington State Whoopers, which is Benchmaster's team. So, how did you feel about this team? I see you ranked them 9th, which is pretty high.
Yeah, I was pretty surprised this was 16th. I thought it was like a decent team. Like, Slowking's really good in low tier for one. Like, just teleports out and pretty much everything. It's also got pretty actually annoying setup sets with Nasty Block Comp Mines. As well, like the offensive synergy when you like have like something like Slowking, which like Slowking really can't like deal with things like per se, like it doesn't want to take on like strong dark types. Like Togetic can usually tank on like any dark type. A Simeon can threaten them, most of them out. And so like it had like a lot of nice momentum into like some good Pokemon. I think that like the double 115 speed tier was like weird. I definitely see like some decent weird holes in it. Like I don't like Togetic personally. I don't like a lot of the Pokemon. Like Fortress is garbage, and it's really flying weak. Like Colossal's the only flying check. But I thought it was like decent. I thought it had a pretty good defensive core with some strong Pokemon. Like Delmise is actually pretty fucking nuts. Like Poltergeist is really strong.
Yeah, I mean, I can see where there are some pluses. The only thing is, and it really hurts the team, is when half of your team is below 45 speed. I think there's a bit of a problem. Like you go from 80 to 43, and that's huge.
Yeah, I'm now seeing this 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 mons like below base 80. That's a really slow team.
Yeah, and then you have like two 115s. It's not the worst, but when they're both weak to Mach Punch, it's bad.
Yeah, it's got Trick Room mode with Slowking, but like can't always rely on Trick Room Slowking because it wants to do other things sometimes.
Yeah, it's the slow mons. I mean, I guess Vikavolt and Delmise work pretty well in it, but other than that, like Fortress, Togetic, even like Colossal, it doesn't really care for Trick Room, so
Yeah, I feel that. I think a lot of the time this team's gonna rely on like Hazard Stack from like Colossal plus Fortress to like chip down with things like Ambipom, Sneasel, potentially win late game with like a Scarf Simeon, Dragon Dance, Flygon, something like that.
yeah, it definitely has a lot to do with setting up. The only thing I think how to fix this team would probably be maybe like dropping a few of the slower mons and try to fix up your 43 to 80 speed gap. And besides that, I mean,
I will say like that this was a common like issue I found like half the teams in this fucking division. Like it's really knockoff week. Like most things here do not want to take a knockoff. Like Sneasel just can't take it in general, and if it loses like Boots, or if it loses like Band, it doesn't have any more breaking potential. Loses Boots, it's dying to rock. Same with Colossal. And like Ambipom can't take it. Flygon doesn't want to lose like a potential Scarf, or like even if it's like a bulky leftover set. A lot of things don't want to lose Boots, and then like his like main like teleport like bait like with like Delmise doesn't want, neither of them want to take knockoff, so it's definitely a decently knockoff weak team. There's a lot of knockoff weak teams in this though.
oh yeah, that's gonna be common because, of course, low tier loves NFEs that are pretty strong. Like as you can see, even just this one team has Sneasel and Togetic, which they're not the worst Pokemon, and they're like Sneasel at least is very commonly drafted. A lot of these Pokemon don't want to be knocked off, just in general in low tier. So having knockoff users is great. Which this team does have a few pretty decent knockoff users. Like
Yeah, it's got good knockoff users. One thing I think is something to notice. It's like it's actually decently weak to just like toxic in general. It's also weak to toxic spikes. Like the cleric is Togetic, and like Togetic's bad. Like it can do something sometimes. Some matchups it can do something, but usually it can't.
Right.
So I think that's weird. But otherwise, like, there's nothing that really appreciates switching in on like a toxic. Like, Fortress is just also awful. So like, I don't know why you're bringing Fortress, but like, it's weak to it can't resist flying, and this team is really weak to flying. Like, Colossal's the only flying check. Like, a Noivern's gonna go ham versus this team. Something like Aerodactyl, for example. Like Aerodactyl.
Oh, Arrow destroys this team.
Like Slowking's like a decent check, but like it's got like Stone Edge hits a lot if it's like banded or something. Yeah, I think like I will agree with speed tiers. Those were definitely a big issue. Like that's so slow at the bottom. You definitely need to patch it up because they're all really similar as well.
Yeah,
Other than
yeah,
that,
exactly.
I thought it was decent just because I like a lot of the momentum plus offense,
Mhm.
like as a core. But it's definitely got some issues. I think the defensive core has some issues. Like Slowking's like is such a glue to this team.
Yeah. The one thing like you already mentioned is the fortress. Maybe swap it out for another steel type if you could find one. That kind of resists flying. That might help a little bit. Um, but yeah, and of course Victor's.
It's not even like yeah. I like this. I like all the hazard stack plus Simeon as well. It's pretty underrated. Like
Yeah.
the Defiant boost.
Yeah.
And he's got spinners and he's got spinner and Delmize of his own, so he doesn't have to remove his own hazards.
Yeah. There's a lot of and colossal
yeah.
spin. Yeah. I think this team is fine. It's just yeah, really just the speed tiers can kind of be fixed, but overall I think it's okay. I did put it 16th, but because
I feel
think
like 16th was a bit of a jump. Like, I feel like there's some worse teams, but I can definitely merit like 16th, like because like there's definitely some glaring issues. I just don't know if those issues like outweigh. I feel like a lot of the positives. I will say as well, it seems also like not the best, especially like it's pretty physically offensive, like in terms of the breakers. Like Volt's the only real thing that breaks specially. Then you got Delmize, Pacifian, Flygon, Ambipomp, Sneasel. Like they're all like only using special hits.
yeah.
Most of them are like nasty blocks looking, like just trigger him life orb or weakness policy. Something crazy with it.
All right, let's go on to the other 16th/15th, which is actually Cross and the Houston Toros. So this team, I put it 12th. You put it 12th as well, so we kind of had the same ideas around what we think here, at least. And I don't know why Pineco is here. I'm gonna be honest.
Like a meme pick or some shit. Like I don't know. Like this team is like, it's not even like bad. It's like there's just it just feels bad for some reason.
I
Like,
agree.
it just feels like no. It doesn't feel like it just won't work. Like realistically, there's not like the best breakers on this team to really like get through. Like Lycanroc's not a good breaker. Hitmonlee's only a good breaker, but it's like banded. To be fair, he doesn't have like terrain or anything to like, but like it just feels like weird. I don't know. I just don't like it for some reason.
Honestly, I feel the exact same way. Like you kind of just read my mind there, because I don't know what exact specifically I dislike. I mean, the Pineco is just a meme pick. You're not gonna bring it. I mean, you might, but
It doesn't look like scary at all. And fucking like, if I'm prepping for this, I'm not like. I feel like I can wall. I think the thing is like, I feel like you can wall everything pretty reliably. Like Sharpedo's easy to. It's not easy to wall, but it's definitely wallable. Hitmonlee's very wallable. Same with Lycanroc. Lycanroc's not as well. And Lycanroc is pretty. I think Lycanroc is pretty good in low tier. CC plus Stone Edge hits a lot of things. Like the walls are like good. Like Mesprit and Mudsdale are both like good walls. Moltres is obviously really good in low tier.
yeah.
Roserade's like decent. Like it can set up like spikes and shit for the team. Like Togedemaru, I think Togedemaru's really good. And I don't like the Mismagius pick personally. I think this team is like, I think it's decently dark weak. I think Wigglytuff is bad.
Yeah.
It usually doesn't have good matchups.
Yeah, it's good on paper. Like you see how many moves it gets. You see how much
The
HP it has.
stat, you see like Stealth Rocks and Knockoff, but like it doesn't work half the time.
Yeah, I've tried to use it before. I've dropped it like week 2 before. I can't use it.
Yeah, I think like realistically, like good fighting types are like an issue for this team. Like a fighting type with just like Knockoff and Stone Edge, like
yeah.
kind of goes ham through this team, and most of them have it. Like a Hariyama, like a Sock, something like that. Could just put in like a Simeon, like what we just saw. Like they could put in a lot of work versus this team, and I just feel like it's got good momentum. There's a lot of users. I just don't feel like there's any way to like capitalize on that momentum. Like Moltres, Sharpedo, Roserade's like, it's a weird core. It's just weird. Like I feel like it's weird. It's fine on paper, but it just doesn't look hard necessarily to prep for.
Yeah, I think so. Cross had 13th pick, which is kind of bad. But I think he made the best of it. Like I don't think it's the worst team in Udon as well either. But the one thing is, you pick up Moltres and you're able. I think at the time there was Seismitoad left. So I think Swampert was gone, but Seismitoad was there. You know, a lot of these bulky water ground types that were still there. And you picked up Sharpedo, and I think that's the big thing is you don't have a bulky water with your Moltres, so
Yeah, I don't like Sharpedo personally in the format. I think Sharpedo's like it's looked as really strong. 'Cause it definitely is strong, but I feel like it's just. I think if you don't have like another water with it, you're losing a lot of momentum. Like
Right.
I think you should have got like a Seismitoad with this team.
Yeah, Saizuto looks really good on this team. Even though you have a Mudsdale, like it kind of
Drop
still
Muzzle for
fits.
Seismitoad and it looks fine. Like Seismitoad plus Rosary, it's pretty good.
Yeah, yeah. The if you look at the three there, it would be like Saizuto, Moltres, Rosary. That looks great, and then the rest is kind of like filler, pivot, like that would have been fine. But
I'll just say, like, I think, like, if the Mudsdale goes down, like, this team is gonna be, like, in a big pickle and, like, some really strong physical offensive monster. That thing definitely is carrying a big load of the defensive portion. It's carrying, like, to take on electric types. It's carrying to take on, like, a lot of big parts for it. Not necessarily electric types, but I think Mudsdale's just really important to this team.
Yeah.
I think it's a good team. I think, like, it's so hard for this team. I don't know why. I like it, but at the same time, I just don't like it. It doesn't seem like a team I'd ever want to play.
right, yeah,
Seems
it's
like you're gonna be like stuck in prep with like 10. You want to bring like 1, 2, 3. You're gonna want to bring like Lycanroc, Mismagius, Togedemaru, Sharpedo, Moltres, Roserade, Hitmonlee, Mesprit, and Mudsdale to like every game. Seems like you're going to bring like all of those to every game because they're all gonna have good matchups.
right.
But you can't, and you're just gonna be like stuck, and you're gonna have like a hole in your team each week for some. I feel like.
Yeah,
And then maybe due to the nature of like a lot of single typings on this team.
yeah. I kind of I understand where Cross was going with this team, but I don't know. We'll see. I know Cross did decently well last season, so and it kind of looks similar. Besides,
Yeah, and
not
Cross
having
is coming out of retirement now.
yeah. So we'll see how he goes for Excadrill division here. But moving on here, finally we don't have a tie. Is going to be 14th, which is the Oval Office. So the Oval Office, he has the Regidrago, Registeel combo, which I'm using right now in another league. But I really like the Gardevoir Zoroark combo because both kind of work with each other. If something tries to use, like, let's say a Shadow Ball or Shadow Sneak on a fake Gardevoir being like Zoroark, that's like a really good momentum boost for you. So I don't know, how do you feel
Yeah,
about this team?
I think the biggest thing about this team is like how weak it is to substitute. Like this team just cannot work out with the substitute of like Alomomola and Registeel are so passive that they just struggle with anything, like especially Alomomola. It's so passive, and the Zoroark gimmick just gets completely shut down by any like by something like a substitute mon because you can just scout with the sub. I think another thing is it just feels really setup weak. Like anything that sets up like I don't know exactly what the counterplay is. Like I don't think you're bringing like Scarf, Zeb, Strika, Frostlass, or Zoroark that much because they all need they need like something to boost their power output if you want to bring them offensively because they're just not the strongest. And Gardevoir speed tier it can't outspeed a lot of things with the Scarf if it's like so like and like Alomomola, Registeel, like they're like good walls. Like in turn, you think they're good walls, but like they're just completely nullified by sub. Like, cause they're always trying to like toxic to try to like wear shit down. Like that's all they do. Carnivine's just what is a Carnivine? I think Oricorio is pretty good though. Like Oricorio is decently underrated in my opinion. Like it can Calm Mind, it can Roost. It's got boots now. It's like the electric one's also pretty good. There's a flying check, cause like otherwise this team like it would definitely struggle a bit with flying types. Like Reggie's still decent as a flying check. Decent, and I would say like a lot of times you're gonna have to run rest on it if you want to reliably do it.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's like the Regidrago just doesn't feel supported as well. Like Registeel is just like not the best fairy killer in general because a lot of times you don't even want to run Iron Head on it, and Beedrill is fucking Beedrill.
Oh yeah, that's another big thing that you said that. Well, I don't know why I'm thinking about this, but this team doesn't have a ground type, which is very, very bad.
Does it not? That's terrible. It doesn't even have an electric immunity. It's resistant
Zeb
to Carnivine.
Strika, there you go.
Oh, it is Zeb Strika because that thing's not good as well though. Yeah, no ground type is pretty bad. I rated it like decently because I like a lot of the offensive mons. I think people, if they don't know how to break Alomomola or Registeel, they're gonna struggle.
Yeah.
I think Zoroark Gardevoir core. I will agree with. I like that core a lot.
Yeah, it seems like a really fun offensive core, but like you said, the defensive core is very, very like just passive to the point where like can't really threaten anything out with either Registeel or Momola. Like they both kind of work with each other in the sense that like sure they cover each other's weaknesses decently well, but doesn't really do much because you can't really pivot out. So
Yeah, it's weird. Registeel's gonna be the rocker like every week, which is fine. Registeel's a good rocker, but I don't know. It's another one of those teams that just doesn't look like besides the Gardevoir, doesn't look like the hardest to prep for. Like, you know what you have to do to beat Alamomola and Registeel. Hitmonchan's not even that bad, but like, it's interesting. It's like weird in a way. Like, when you're trying to like prep for this team, like I think it's also really weak to Dark. That's another thing. Like Hitmonchan is like you don't want Hitmonchan to have that much pressure, and like Hitmonchan is very weak physically defensive. So like a strong knockoff user like hits this team really hard. Like what's taking hits from like fucking example? I need to find something. Pangoro. That.
Pangoro,
Like
nothing.
yeah, nothing. Like it actually just 6-0s. Like SD Pangoro, Bullet Punch, Knockoff, Close Combat, GG.
Pangoro has SD?
Yeah, it is SD.
The hell? Okay, well. Yeah, that,
Yeah,
that...
I've rambled for a bit. You can talk.
Alright, yeah. Yeah. The only thing, honestly, I think the biggest thing is not having a ground type, because there's a lot of pretty decent electric types here, in low tier, and they have enough coverage usually to hit Zebstrike at least pretty well, because it's not that tanky, to where like you don't have a switch into, let's just say, a Specs Volt switch. Like, are you gonna use Zebstrike every week? Probably not.
Yeah, and like when you're like thinking about like realistically, you don't want Regidrago to take a lot of chip if you're the Dragon Energy set, obviously.
Right.
And if like in general, like Mon's like say like a Dawn fan, like if you go for like overheat with a Manectric, it's not going to punish as much because it's only going to do like 30-40%, but Zebstrika's taken like 60-70% from something, and all of a sudden it just can't take another hit, and then you just are going to get Volt switched on constantly. It definitely, like, I think Alamomola and Registeel, like, this team feels very momentum draining. Like, I think that's definitely a problem with a lot of passive teams. Like, you're going to constantly have to send in that Alamomola and Registeel, and say, like, something, like, just momentums, and then you bring in, like, a strong fighting dark type, like Pangoro, as I said, you bring in a strong dark type in general. Then like you just lose so much like thing because you feel so pressured because you're gonna have to sack something off every time because that defensive core, as I said, just loses to a substitute. If you get a sub up, then you basically are picking a sack because the rest of the defensive core, there's nothing else defensive.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's all I
Yeah.
have to say about that team.
Yeah, I think let's leave it off at probably find a decent ground type because there's still a lot left. Like I know like. Even Galarian Stunfisk over Registeel could be better. Like it does.
I don't think you drop Registeel. I think Registeel's really good in low tier.
I'm just saying like something that could help out. Like have a ground type. Anything. Drop something for a ground type.
Yeah, you should definitely pick up a ground type though. Ground types are nice. Very good type format. Yeah, I think otherwise it's like it's decent. It's nothing like crazy about it. It's not like the Gardevoir is the only standout mon in my opinion on this team.
Yeah, and Zoroark is pretty good here. But...
Zoroark's pretty good, but yeah.
All right, let's go on to the next one. We got the Auckland Lucky Pies, which is Lucas's team, Lucas2543, which is in 13th. So
You start on this.
Yeah, I'll start here. So the first time I went over this in at least in Pick'ems, I was like, oh, this team is a little more offensive. And then I looked at it again. I'm like, wait, no, it's not. Because Lucas loves to have this really, really almost stall-like team, but has a few offensive mons that can really help him out. And he usually does pretty well. He did well last time. And I think this team is not too different. He's got that bulky Indeedee, but also can be like a, of course, an offensive threat. It's usually going to be an offensive threat. He has his Slurpuff that can really help out with like Unburden. And I think the main thing is, or the main confusion that I've had with this team is I don't know why he picked up Corsola. I can't figure out why. Is there a big reason? Like, I don't know.
I honestly couldn't tell you. Does Corsola get spikes? If it's spikes, maybe. Like, I could merit
think so.
Okay, so what I was gonna say about this team, like, I was gonna say, like, it's. Let me look at spikes. If it gets spikes real quick. It does not get spikes. I'm just gonna look at Corsola's moveset. It gets. I know it just gets rocks, but, like, it's got decent rockers, anyways. Except Druddigon. Yeah, what I was gonna say about this team, so it's very like, it's another one of those knockoff weeks teams that I pointed out, like, because if Slurpuff is like a psychic barrier, it doesn't want to lose it. Klefki hates losing its item. The top three can't lose items. Type null, obviously. Scrafty is like a decent knockoff check, but a lot of knockoff mons are fighting types, so I wouldn't even merit. Dredagon doesn't like to get knocked off. I guess Corsola, I guess. And a lot of other things don't want to lose their boots. But what I was gonna point out, like, it's very like lacking offensively, like, because things like Indeedee, like it's very strong, but there's like no pivot at all on this team to even get it in. Like, it's the only mon that can pivot is Type Null, and Type Null's it's a decent pivot, but like Type Null has usually got to pivot out on like fighting types half the time. And I guess you can bring Indeedee on a fighting type, but the fighting type outspeeds it. Indeedee's just not going to take the hit because it's not tanky enough. It's like you can't really capitalize on Indeedee being like your only real offensive threat though, because everything else like Type Null, Scrafty, they need setup to get going. Slurpup needs setup to get going. Salazzle can be like, it can run Nasty Plot, it can run Subtoxic, it's got all those decent sets. But like, I don't know. I also thought the team was like pretty like, it's a very Edgequake week. Like I think Gorgai's pretty good in low tier, but like, I hate Mantine. No, Mantine's so bad.
Yeah, I agree with that. I hate Mantine as well.
So passive. Like, this is another team that just loses to Substitute.
Yeah. If I had this team, I would try to get some more Pokemon that has more pivot, because like you said before, like,
yeah, you definitely need some pivot on this team.
I know Indeedee, I'm pretty sure Indeedee has Baton Pass, which is like, I guess, another one, but you're not.
Yeah, but that's like your only breaker. You can't be clicking Baton Pass when it's like your only breaker besides like a Spec Salazzle.
Yeah.
Usually you won't bring that.
Yeah, so I think the only thing I would say is try to find some more pivot mons. I know Corsola, I mean, I don't know why you grabbed it. You could probably switch that out for like a decently fast pivot mon or something like that, but yeah, that's about it for this team.
Yeah, I was gonna say, like, with the ground week, like, the thing you guys are looking at is not the order they picked everything in, by the way.
No.
I'll actually pull it now, because I did want to roast the order some people pick things in.
Oh, that's fine.
Let me go pull up.
I think Indeedee was first.
Yeah, I know Indeedee was first, which is still a bad pick, but
wow.
I don't know why. I don't know why you're picking Indeedee first when Blaziken, Porygon 2, Noivern are still on the board. Like, that's just a throw and a half. Like Blaziken's so good in low tier, and you picked Indeedee, so.
Well, it would make sense if you were trying to do like a terrain team, but then you grab Slurpuff, and Slurpuff is
yeah, but you could probably get Indeedee round 2. I doubt it was gonna go.
Yeah, but let's just say, for instance, like, if you're planning on a terrain team, just in case if someone takes it, you know, what are you gonna do?
I mean, yeah, I guess if you really want the terrain, like, too much gimmicky. But yeah, the top 6 where we did ground, that was or none of them could resist ground, which is what I was gonna point out. And usually, like, your top 6 is some of your best mons. So that was something I was gonna point out. Like, in terms of like being weak to like common things, I felt like that was like an issue. Yeah, I definitely don't think Indeedee's like ever a round 1 pick though. Like, it's good, but like, I don't know.
Yeah,
I think Indeedee's actually really good, but like, I don't know. It's really strong, but I haven't seen it do enough in low tier yet.
Yeah, I think there are plenty of mons that Lucas could have picked up, that I think would have been a little better, but you know, maybe he has some plans. Like I said last time, he had a very bulky team, and there were a decent amount of things wrong with it, but that was just
I think it's
like,
just setting up for like a win with like Slurpuff or Salazzle, and one of them are gonna probably win the game. I think the team is fine though. It's like, I don't like the team I put at 16th at all, but I think this team is decent. Like, it's definitely got ways to win. Like, I think Scrafty's really good in low tier. I love Scrafty in low tier. Such a good bulk up mon.
Yeah, it's super good.
Skin. It's so good at just spamming knockoff. It's very annoying to prep for.
Yeah, if you don't have a good fairy, it's hard to kill.
Yeah, and he's got Salazzle and Klefki, which can definitely beat fairies. Like, I'm not putting out any positives in these teams, but there's definitely some positives in a lot of these teams. Like, this team, it will definitely wear you down.
All right, moving on to the next team. We have the Saginaw Spear Teams, which is Kiwis Cross's team. So we ranked him 12th. Well, you put him 11th. I'm kind of curious why.
So I had this team 11. Let me pull up what order you picked everything in. I'm pretty sure this guy got like a really late fucking Meloetta. If I remember, he might have gotten round 2. I need to find it. I'm looking at the minor stock. That's why. Okay. So yeah, Kiwis cross. Yeah. Round 1 Cloister. Never again. Don't. It's just not worth a round 1.
True.
Like Cloister's like good, but like it's definitely not worth your round 1 pick. Like it can set up and sweep, but like who cares? But like then you got like Meloetta's very good in low tier. I definitely will give Meloetta some points in low tier. Embor is also good. Then like it just like I feel like it just really dropped into like Scyther, Morpeko, Duraludon, Runerigus, Haunter, Sceptile, Carbink, and Charjabug. Like it's like such a mediocre bottom half. Like I think Scyther is pretty good in low tier. Like Morpeko's kind of bad in my opinion. Runerigus is so passive. I don't even know why there's a Haunter on this team. You could have gotten a poison type that actually was immune to toxic spikes. Like, well, it is, but yeah, the one that actually is immune to toxic spikes. If you really wanted that, like, you weren't like in need of too much special breaking. You have a Duraludon, you have a Haunter. I don't know why there's a Sceptile. Like, it's not a, it's like a speed tier, but you have no terrain for it. I feel like Sceptile can only really function with terrain.
Yeah.
Charjabug, what? I don't know. Like this team's like, I don't know. Carbink can come in and get rocks up for you, I guess, most of the time. Morpeko's just so like Morpeko's the remover is just I don't know, it's just not that good. Like Morpeko's not I don't like Morpeko as a
Yeah.
remover
The
personally. I think it's
removers in general is what I wanted to bring up, because you got Morpeko, you got like Scyther with Defog, you got Cloyster with Rapid
no,
Spin. None of these want to
nope.
run it, so
Like Morpeko can, but like a lot of time if it clicks Rapid Spin, you're losing a lot of momentum for your team.
yeah, you want to press Aura Wheel most of the time, anyways.
Yeah, because it hits hard with more Aura Wheel.
Yeah. The other thing I also wanted to bring up was, a lot. This team is pretty damn rock weak. Like you do have Cloyster, which doesn't want to run heavy moves every week. You want Charjabug to be running a Violite. You have a lot of Scyther. You have a lot of these mons that want to run heavy duty boots or want to run an item, and you have
This
like
team
no
is
removal.
hazard weak in general. Stealth Rocks and Toxic Spikes are like a menace team, especially like Toxic Spikes.
Yeah.
Like I don't know how you get out of Toxic Spikes with this team. Like Meloetta, Embor, Runerigus, Cloyster, those things getting poisoned is so bad.
Yeah, I agree.
Carbink as well. Like you definitely don't want these things getting poisoned because like then they're just gonna slowly get worn down. I think I don't know what was the other points I had about this team. Another Dark Week team. Like I think Carbink feels like very like important for this team. Like it's like the best dark switching because Morpeko is not a good dark switch and Embor doesn't want to take like knockoffs because it doesn't want to lose item. So Carbink definitely looks pretty like actually pressured into doing that, as well as being like Carbink and Runerigus both can set up rocks, but like Runerigus is weird in the format. It's just like it's not bad, but it's not good either. Like it can EQ, it can Poltergeist, it can set up Toxic Spikes, set up rocks, but like a lot of time it just feels a little bit passive in matchups. Another momentum draining mon. Like because a lot of the times you're gonna be forced into the Runerigus or Carbink. Those are like your only real walls. And like if you bring in like something like really offensive, like Carbink loses to every steel type. So like if it gets U-turned on and then you bring in like I don't know any strong steel type, like you're in a bad spot. And same with the Runerigus and like a strong like knockoff user, a strong dark user in general, or even like a ghost type. Like you're in a pretty weird spot overall.
Yeah, this team in general is just super knockoff weak, and knockoff users. I mean, I'm gonna keep bringing
knockoff
this up.
is
So good.
Knockoff week is a lot of these teams. A lot of these teams are definitely knockoff week.
Which is not.
It's definitely got some highs though. I think Embor plus Meloetta is really nice. Embor can break dark types for Meloetta. It can break through a lot of things. Duraludon can kill. That was the other, like I feel like this team doesn't really support Cloyster as well though. Like Sceptile's bad, and Morpeko's the only other way to break bulky waters, which is like what Cloyster like Cloyster plus Embor. Like they both don't really do well against bulky waters unless you predict with Embor and go for Wild Charge. So it's definitely tougher to pull off, if you would say. To pull off a Cloyster pick, which is why I don't really get it as a round 1. It's usually not a round 1 pick. You could have definitely waited on Cloyster and gotten like, let's see what was up when you got Cloyster. I'm looking at the minor stock again. You got Cloyster before things like Gardevoir, Swampert, Crobat, Indeedee, Noivern, Blaziken. Like there's so many things that you can get before like Cloyster, and I don't think you support Cloyster the way it needs to be supported to win.
Yeah, Yeah, 100%. I think if you're round one picking Cloister, you need a lot of like removal, so you don't have to run heavy duty boots on your Cloister. You just need to have a lot of support for it, and it doesn't look like you did that. You mainly just picked up mons that I guess
This
they
seems
don't.
also like slowish, if you would say. Like, I think like base 100 users are just so strong versus this team. Like, a lot of base one, yeah, in my opinion, base 100 users, because like Scyther is gonna be like the main thing to take it on. Sceptile's, because Sceptile like it just can't hit shit. Like it's not strong, and it really can't hit a lot of things without like a sword stance up.
Yeah, I completely agree. I think Sceptile is not. If you don't have terrain, you probably shouldn't pick it up as your grass type, because grass type you usually want to have like,
Yeah,
at least a
it's also
slightly
being picked
bulkier
up
one.
as your speed tier. That's why it's picked up as the speed tier above 105 to like facilitate the speed. So it's definitely hard to work with it, in my opinion.
Yeah. But let's move on to the next one. We have the Lantern Lunatics. So
This one was a debate. I like this team.
yeah, why don't do you want to start or do you want me to start?
I'll start it off just because I like this team.
Okay.
So, we got P2, which is really good in low tier. P2 pivot into like, I love Sigalith. It's hard to say this thing. But like, I feel like P2, Sigalith, Talonflame, Shaman, Surfetch, Stunfisk, Tentacruel, they're all like really good. Kingdra's also surprisingly underrated in low tier in my opinion. It can Dragon Dance up, it can set up Rain Dance for itself. I just like the offensive momentum so much on this team. Like, the offense seems so good. Like, Mawile's the only rocker, which is they're only Stunfisk. Never mind me. I like Stunfisk. I think Stunfisk was
It's a
really
low
important.
tier legend right there.
So flying weak. Stunfisk is so good. People love it this generation. So flying weak until you got the Stunfisk, which is a great flying check. Then can always set up rocks on the flying types. And like, I don't know, you got like Talonflame plus P2, which is pivot out into Surfetch. Tentacruel's a nice remover for this team, as well as laying toxic spikes down. Because a lot of these teams are toxic spikes weak. I think overall, like, the speed tiers are pretty solid on this team. It's got some of the better speed tiers with some nice drops. Not too much besides like a 115 or 110 that could be annoying for this team. Other than that, I thought it was a good team. But you ranked it 14th. Let's see what you have to say about
Yes.
Pook.
So, the first thing I thought of was I saw the P2 and the Shaman pick, and I was like, all right, that's fine. I could have sworn if P2 and Alola Marik were on the board, you grab both of them because they both synergize super well with each other, being Trick Room Teleport. P2 is great with doing that. It's probably the best thing in the format to do that, besides, I guess, Slowking. Slowking's also pretty good, but with its weaknesses, it's really good with Marowak. So I was like, okay, maybe round 3 and 4, because they were 16th picks, so they can pick twice. So then I was thinking, well, maybe that'll be their next picks. And it got back to them, and they still didn't pick it. So then I was looking, okay, well, maybe they have a Trick Room Mon that works with it. And I looked, and like, Mawile and Stunfisk don't work really with Trick Room. So then there goes one strat. So I was like, okay, maybe it's just for defensive. I guess it's fine, but I kind of, if I picked P2, I would probably want some type of Trick Room Mon to at least threaten other people out.
I think
like maybe Hatterene.
I think Surfetch can work under Trick Room. It's got 65 base speed. Thing doesn't have much switch-ins in low tier.
Yeah, it's just kind of weird because like it's not low. Like if I brought my Hatterene against it, it's not gonna work. You know, it's a lot of these teams have slower mons that are better.
Yeah, I agree. I can definitely agree on that point. I just feel like the offensive, like it's definitely like P2 is such a good backbone, like especially since the team is so offensive. Like I don't think a lot of time you can be doing Trick Room port. Like I feel like a lot of times you need it to be bulky, but like just regular be teleporting out into like his breakers, like Sigalith is insane in low tier if you guys don't know. Tinted Lens, like Specs, has no switch-ins.
Yeah. The other thing I wanted to say as well was two mons that they didn't really make sense were Mawile and Ghastly. If you need a Steel and Fairy, you usually don't need to grab Mawile. Like find better mons. And Ghastly, if you're looking at speed tiers, it looks fine. But then
Ghastly, we don't have to talk about. This thing does not count.
But if you look at speed tiers though, then it goes from 85 to 65, which is a 20 speed gap, which is pretty big. If you're not counting Ghastly,
terrible. I don't know. There's not a lot of big, strong 75 users that you need to be scared about. I don't think an 85 to 65 gap is that bad at all. If anything, like,
right,
let me look up what 70 users there are that like would really pressure that. Like maybe like a deciduous, but they still can't run like Adamant. I don't think that's the worst gap.
The other thing was I think base 115 speed would be really good on something here, because you go from 126 to 100, which I think 115 would be better. I don't see Ghastly doing anything, and I think while I mean it can be defensive, but it's very niche. Like, you're probably not going to be bringing it. Same with the Ghastly. So really, you just have like what 1, 2, 3, 4.
Yeah,
Like
Marvel's
8
really poor bulky. Like, it's like not bulky at all. Like, if you're bringing it, it's probably like Stealth Rocks, Knock Off, like Play Rough, and some other move, like in Baton Pass maybe. It's like it can come to certain matchups that you need it to come to, and I think like you needed it because like there's a Reggie Drago, obviously. You need to get a nice fairy type for that. I think it's important to at least have a fairy. Have a steel type is always nice. Get one that can set up Stealth Rocks. Like, it's not a good Pokemon, but like it's there to do like certain roles. It will come like one time, maybe 2 times. Other than that, like I just really like that top part, like, and I think Kingdra's really underrated in low tier. And I think Alola Whack is good, but I don't rate Alola Whack that high in low tier. I don't like Trick Room or slow things in low tier personally. I think like the really high speed tiers and the really like strong offensive mons are what have the most advantage. Like Talonflame is so good in low tier because it's so fast and you can just U-turn out, or just even do Swords Dance, Will-O-Wisps. Like, I think that's just me personally. I know a lot of people do like Trick Room mode, but I don't like Trick Room mode that much in low tier.
Oh, I'm not saying go like full Trick Room. I'm saying if you have a really good Trick Room user like a P2, you need. I would say get something that can work with it, so that people have to at least prep for
I mean,
it.
I think Surfetch still can work with it, like depending on the matchup. So.
It's very because
it's niche, but it can work in my opinion.
All right. All right. So I guess we go on to the next one here. We have Marshy's team, the Sexy Sizzlepedes. Nice. So this was another tied one. So it's 10/9th. We are the total opposite yet again here. Okay, that's pretty fun. So
yeah, I don't know why I like this team so much. I just felt like it like actually synergized pretty well together. Like, it's got like the rockers are okay. Like Golurk, Tyrantrum both can set up Stealth Rocks. Golurk most times can be the rocker because it wants to be like one of the better electric checks. I don't know. I just felt like there was a lot of things you have to like prep for. There's so many things that like. The thing is, I feel like everything on this team is good in their own right. There's not one bad mon. Like, Electrode's actually pretty. I've come to respect Electrode recently. Like, it can outspeed things. It can set up screens. It can foul play. It can Volt Switch. It can teleport. It can taunt. Like, it's got a lot of utility to set up for things like a Double Dance Moltres, like a Dragon Dance Tyrantrum, which I know you fucking hate Tyrantrum, but.
God damn.
And then we got Quillfish. Quillfish can spike up for this team. You got Mr. Rhyme who can spin. Like. Mr. Rhyme's there because, like, I don't know. I liked it. I just saw no huge issues in this team.
All right, let me tell you the huge issues. Are you ready?
Yeah, I'm ready.
All right, let me first go through the things that probably.
Blood types is also pretty whack, but Senta Scorch plus Excadrills synergize pretty well.
All right, so let me say. First, let's go through what gets rid of hazards. Okay, we got Mr. Rhyme and like Yanmega's Defog. Okay, great. What wants to run heavy duty boots? Yanmega, Moltres probably.
Mr. Gonna run boots on Yanmega. She's gonna run specs every week.
Mr. Rhyme, Senta Scorch. A lot of these mons probably want to run boots, and if they don't, they're gonna be taking 50% every single time. And if you have like basically one spinner being Mr. Rhyme, it's kind of bad.
Yeah, I guess that's definitely a fair point. Like, the removal definitely was one of the bigger issues on this team, but like, I don't know. It makes it knockoff week, but I don't rate removal that much anymore. It's definitely important. On this team, I definitely agree that there should be another remover, though.
Yeah, it depends what team it is. Like, this team has 2 quad weeks to rock. Then you got a Moltres and Mr. Rhyme, which would like to run boots. Or if these Pokemon were able to run other items, that'd be great. But they have to run heavy duty boots, basically. Mega, I guess, doesn't technically have to, but then again, you're losing 50% of your health every time you come in. There's no good Wish Passers. I don't think Rapidash gets it. I think it gets Healing Wish, but I don't think it gets Wish.
I don't think it gets Wish Pass, no.
So yeah, there's no Wish Passers either, so if you're taking that chip from rocks, you're losing that health, like, permanently, so.
Yeah, I think those are fair points. Is that all that you thought made it 15th though?
Yeah, I think that was kind of the biggest things for me. But besides that, I mean, there wasn't too many outliers. I think that was like the biggest thing for me. Yeah.
Yeah, I think like those are definitely fair points. I just felt like it's another one of those teams. Like I feel like in low tier offense is so strong that like I could not put it low just because like the offensive synergy like just between a lot of these mons is so strong. Like Rhyperior is so strong in the format, and Virizion just can break everything for it pretty much, and Quillfish can set up the spikes and T spikes. So there's a lot of T spikes weak teams that like I feel like if people don't have the correct checks, they are gonna get worn down fast with things like Bikeable Tyrantrum, and even like Golurk. Golurk's really strong.
Yeah, Golurk is super strong. I actually think it was under tiered while I was looking at it, but that's besides the point. What was it, like 9th or 9 points? I think. What was it?
I don't know.
I'm actually checking right now, real quick. It was 8 points for Golurk, which is pretty good, I would say. But
yeah, that's pretty value.
Yeah, I think I understand why Marshy picked Yanmega. Obviously,
Marshy, you actually know why Marshy picked Yanmega?
Well, that was her plan to pick Yanmega, right? Like,
no, you don't know. Coliseum Week 1, Marshy versus Rizux. Ooh, what a game!
Damn. Well,
I'll send you the replay if you want to watch it. If you want to put it on the stream, let me find this replay. This is the biggest. Oh god, this is the funniest shit I've ever watched. Funniest game in the history of Mons. This is the only reason Marshy picked Yanmega round 1.
Is it possible to explain it or no? Because
yeah, I gotta find the replay again.
Okay.
I remember being pinned. All right, here. Let's lay out the scene. All right, Marshy versus Rizux. Let me just scroll through real quick. All right, Marshy is down 2-6 with a Gliscor in a Yanmega versus Mega Aerodactyl, Jirachi, Greninja, Infernape, Vikavolt, and Quillfish. So Yanmega's in. Marshy goes for the Ancient Power and Bug Buzz. And so it starts with a Calm Mind Rachi getting crit by the Bug Buzz, so it dies. And then she gets an Ancient Power boost, so that's always fun, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then it sweeps because it got a crit plus an Ancient Power boost.
Oh my god.
A 2-6 bottom lead. That's the only reason she picked this shit. Funniest game ever.
Well,
complete robbery of a win.
I would say, in this specific team, I don't think you need it.
It's not like even the best, but like she picked it as just for that. That's the only reason she picked it first.
Okay, so yeah, I think if you were doing it like because of that, I think swapping this out for something else would just be better because I think just the weaknesses that it has doesn't help your team at all. I think even like the speed isn't really necessary. Like a lot of it is kind of redundant because you do have three bug types, but you know, if you want to use it, so be it. It's not bad, so you can definitely use it effectively, as you've said. So yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's definitely a conflicting team, though. I will agree.
Yeah.
Hopeless gave it 16th because he's biased.
Probably.
All right, another interesting one.
All right. Yes.
Some very different opinions here. I fucking hate this team. Well, who picks round 1 Incineroar? That's so fruity. That thing is not. Right. Why?
Let me start, and then you can flame it. All right. Let me start here. So, I personally really like this team because it does have a lot of special and physical threatening mons, being like Vanillix is super good in low tier, Swallow super good in low tier. I do like the core of like Incineroar, Trigalagy, Rhyperior, and Blastoise. Like those 4 Pokemon work super well together. And then you have that mini Hail core that can kind of work together. You got the Rotom, which could definitely help with some pivots into stuff like the threats like Swallow and Blastoise maybe can Shell Smash up. The only thing that I questioned on this team was, why do you have Hail plus Shedinja? You have so many other mons that you could choose. Why did you choose Shedinja?
Alright, let's go to what I wrote down here. So, I didn't like the speed tiers. Like, 101 to 125 is isn't pretty. It's not like terrible, but it's not the best gap. There's just so much slow, and it relies on hail to actually gain speed. Because Rotom, like you would in turn, it just I don't know. It looks like it's gonna be more forced into being bulky, because the team's decently like Edgequake weak. So Rotom's like the best check to it, so it's not gonna be able to run speed a lot of the time. Yeah, I said the offensive synergy was bad. Dragalge plus Swellow struggle with the exact same things. They both don't like steel types. I said it was very weak to taunt. That was another one. Like a lot of these mons just do not want to get taunted. Like Blastoise doesn't want to get taunted. Like the fucking what else is there? Rotom doesn't like getting taunted. And there was also I said the hail. Yeah, I also agree that I didn't like the hail core at all. Like it makes. I'm pretty sure hail ruins Swellow's hurricane accuracy. And it also just chips down like all these things that like don't have reliable recovery, like Blastoise, Incineroar, don't have reliable recovery. Yeah, Rhyperior, Dragalge, they're all just gonna get worn down slowly by hail. So it's like not good. The things I said was really good about it. It had good momentum into good breakers, and it had good removals, good hazards, and I said it was super fucking knockoff weak. Another knockoff weak team. Because if you have hail chipping you down and you're switching in like your Rhyperior or Blastoise, you lose, or your Dragalge, you lose your thing to actually gain health back, and then all of a sudden you're just losing all your health to hail. Like, it's so, I don't know. I think it's also really weak to Stealth Rocks.
Mm-hmm.
Like there's so many boots reliant mons, and then like a lot of things can't run boots.
Yeah.
Like, Swellow doesn't want to run boots, Vanillix doesn't. Incineroar sometimes wants to run like the offensive set.
Yeah,
and the removal is like it's decent with like Blastoise and Rotom, but like I don't know. I think this team is gonna be abused pretty easily. Like round 1 Incineroar also. What are you doing? Like come on, there's a Blaziken. Why are you guys undervaluing Blaziken? I went to pick 15.
Yeah, I mean I can see why you don't like it, but you guys will notice I really like colorful looking teams. Okay, this team has a lot
gimmicks. He likes gimmicks. He likes his fucking hail trick room shenanigans. I hate all that.
Well, okay, like mini ones. Like I don't say go like full hail.
Gimmicks.
But Shedinja doesn't want to run both heavy duty boots, also sash, also goggles for the hail. Like you can't run 3 items. There's a Misdrevious in the same tier. If you're going for a ghost type, get that. Mischievous is so much better. So much better.
It's like, I don't know what this... I just can't put my finger on, like, anything on this team. Like, I don't think, like, Hail's even, like, that good on this team. Like, it's not... This team doesn't like to beat any bulky waters. Like, Simisage? Simisage? What is that? What is a Simisage?
I like Simisage, alright? It's pretty good.
What is a Simisage? What do he do? He doesn't have like hidden power anymore.
It's got a hat.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. I don't like the team. I fucking hate the team, in fact.
And I gotta verse this team this week too. I mean, it's
yeah,
scary.
Free win. If you lose this game, I'm unfriending you.
Well, I put them at 5th. It's higher than what I put myself at.
Yeah, your team's also bad, so.
It is bad, and I'll talk about it after this because by the time I put this up, I'll probably already make the trades. But whatever. Yeah, once we get to my team, but I don't know.
Right.
I personally like the team. Like you said, I kind of like. I mean, the gimmick is fine, at least in my opinion. The only thing is Shedinja. There's other 4-point Pokemon that just fit.
4 points? What the fuck? Why'd you pick Shedinja?
Yeah, I'd probably move it. It's not very good. Yeah, if you didn't have Hail, I would be like, okay, sure, that could maybe come to a few games.
No,
but...
you already have a Ghost type.
Wait, what?
He's a Rotom.
Oh, I'm blind. Yeah, why do you have that? That's so weird. Like even getting there was another Pokemon I was looking at for I don't know. All these 4-pointers are probably just better in general. Like a lot of these, if you're going for a bug type, there's even better bug types in here. So I don't know. I liked it. Burger doesn't. You could both take our criticisms however you want. Up to you.
Yeah, take my opinion though.
Yeah.
Don't actually.
All right, next team here is 8th place. We got Davy's team, the Hartlepool Hydreigons, and yet another person that picked a 4-point ghost type that I would suggest dropping it and getting Mischievous because it's just a better ghost type in 4 points. I'm sorry. That's my
I don't
opinion.
know why. I like Dracula. Dracula's kind of cool. It can spread status and U-turn. I don't know. I think it's kind of cool.
Yeah, but you got status, but you also have like things that
I
do
don't
that
know
better.
why I put this team as low as I did. I remember actually liking this team when I looked back at it. I
Hmm.
think, what was my issue with this team? I had like an issue with this team and I can't remember it now.
All right, well,
You're gonna start.
yeah. So, I personally really like the combination of Heracross, Seismitoad, and Magneton. Magneton, resisting, quad resisting, both flying and grass, really helps him out. And it's able to pivot out into the Heracross and Seismitoad pretty well. And I like you said that it could spread status, but I feel like Miltank and Magneton spread T-Wave better. Does it have Will-O-Wisp, the baby one?
Yeah.
Okay, so I guess that's fine, but I don't know. I like how bulky it is, yet offensive, and that's why I put it fourth. I think it's about fourth in my opinion.
Yeah, I think I should have put this higher realistically. Like, this team, how does anyone kill Seismitoad? Like everything is in resist grass. Like everything besides Absol
Yeah.
and Aromatisse. Like because Miltank got Sap Sipper.
Mm-hmm.
You never
Freeze
have to-
Dry is I get. Well, no, Miltank is their Magneton. Yeah.
Miltank can be big fat. Yeah, this team's got like a really like it's got like Lucas. It's got like what Lucas was trying to go for, but it's actually got like better synergy in general.
Yeah.
Plus like a good breaker in Heracross. Like Heracross and Indeedee are both really good breakers, but I think Heracross definitely is the better one. Heracross is so strong.
Yeah.
I don't remember what I did. I think this team's actually pretty good. Now looking over it again, it's like a bit physically offensive, like especially off like it comes down to Slowbro Galar. A lot of times I think it's gonna want to be like AV though. It's gonna want to be like fucking other things. I don't know. I think Slowbro Galar is really good.
I think
I'm
the
gonna go tier.
one of the bigger ones would probably be also like speed, like your fastest Pokemon is
Yes,
Dracula.
that was one of the things. Speed tiers. It's got bad speed tiers.
Yeah, I think you could probably get like a 115, maybe one, even just one, like switching out something for a
Oh
115.
yes, that's what I was gonna say. This team feels so pressured into running Scarf Heracross. That's what I was thinking. Because when you look at these speed tiers, like the top speed tiers, Miltank doesn't run speed, and Dracloak is like niche, come to like one or two matchups. But Heracross, like it's so strong, Flame Orb Guts. But you don't want to run the Scarf Moxie. Like it's a good set. The Flame Orb Guts, like especially considering this is the best breaker on the team, and the team, it's a bit like it's very bulky, not the best breakers. Not being able to run the Flame Orb set is going to be actually a bit detrimental because you're going to want to run Scarf on it a lot. You can run Scarf Serena sometimes, but like it's a bit more niche as well. What was the other thing? I still can't remember what else I didn't like about the team. I don't like Aromatisse, but it can pass wishes.
Yeah,
decently
I
enough.
think passing wishes is really good on this team.
Yeah, wish pass in general is just solid and low tier.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I think
this
it's
team's really
definitely. I think it's a really good team. I can give it.
Oh,
I don't know why it's 14th on Hopeless's.
Yeah, I didn't.
I think
ask
Hopeless
that.
didn't look.
No, I mean he had reasons, but I can't
No, he
remember
didn't.
what this one
He's
is.
bad. Hopeless, if you're hearing this, you're bad.
Oh my god. I think I think everything is kind of solid. I don't think there's a spiker. Wait, Heracross is spiker. Right?
Heracross, yeah.
That's kind of weird. All right, well, I don't know. Yeah, I kind of like this team.
It's a team. It works. It's definitely gonna work. It's gonna have decent matchups. I think it's definitely gonna struggle a bit. It's gonna struggle in some matchups. Like I think realistically, checking a lot of like special threats seems like the biggest issue for this team because it's definitely more physically bulky. You have to rely on Articuno a bit. And Articuno's not the best, but it's okay.
Yeah.
All right.
All right. Next team. Oh my god. Okay, you start with this one. It's gotta be my team.
We got the Exostomp Excadrills. All right.
Flame me.
So, this was another team that I felt like very similar to like the Gardevoir one, where it's like outside of Breloom, it just feels like mediocre at best. Like Marowak's a big offensive threat, but like it's just so slow and it dies to. It's so weak to knockoff and Stealth Rocks. And then like I like Archeops a lot. Archeops is one of my favorite mons in low tier, and I think Chinchino's bad. I know you really wanted to build around Chinchino, but like, ugh, I don't get it. It just feels so bad in every matchup. Like, I get that you have ways to break fighting types or not, like steel types, but like I don't know. What did I say here? Chinchino, Venomoth, Berserker are all like bad Pokemon in general. Like Venomoth sucks. If anyone doesn't know, Venomoth is like completely unviable. Like it doesn't do damage even with a Quiver Dance. And you already have a Spore user with Breloom, so.
Right. Yeah.
I said the special offense is also pretty lacking because Venomoth and Hattering both need a Calm Mind or Venomoth in its case 5 Quiver Dances to do damage. So yeah, because then you're just relying on like Hattering, which needs to be like Life Orb. I don't know. I don't like Hattering personally. I think it's okay in low tier. The Calm Mind Draining set is like the best set for it though. We've also got what else do we hear? Yeah, Lantern was super pressured on this team. That was the other thing. Like, you're very flying weak, like, outside of, like, Archeops can somewhat, but, like, if it's like a really strong flying type and you get knocked into your defeatist range, you're just crippled, and you have a Berserker, which isn't good. So Lantern is pretty pressured. Lantern, and there's no Wish Passer to keep it sustained. I think Lantern's really good, but it's such a momentum drainer on this team, along with Donphan. Like, they switch in, and then they get into something like especially offensive mon, as I said, looks pretty fucking scary against the team, because it's a lot better physically bulky, in my opinion. That's what I was thinking about this team. I don't know. I just didn't like it that much, and it was very Rocky Helmet week. That was the other thing.
Yeah.
I really like Archeops Breloom. That's a good core.
Yeah, that was. I was looking at Archeops and Breloom initially. Well, I was technically looking at Heracross initially, but I was looking for Breloom for a second. I did really want to build around Chichino, and then I realized that like nothing kind of fit like with it. So I'm gonna be dropping that. I'm gonna be dropping Venomoth, Fracture, and Berserker. And I mean, well, first let me go over what I was thinking initially. The Breloom is really nice, but it's pretty slow, and I really wasn't ready for it to be 70 speed. I thought it was like 85, kind of like Heracross, but it's not. So Venomoth is my really only speed tier between 110 and 70, which is not very good. So I tried to patch that up with speed with my free agencies as well. Yeah, I do have a lot of quote-unquote unmons like Fracture and Berserker and as you said, Venomoth. I like Chinchino, but I am going to drop it, sadly. I'm going to be picking up Audino because it is a Wish Passer. It's still a normal type, and it has the ability, almost like Porygon 2, to set up a Trick Room and be, of course, a normal type. So that's pretty nice. And Venomoth will be a Skuntank. I still wanted to keep that Grounded Poison, but I also don't have a Dark type on this team, which is another bad part of my team right now because it's pretty weak to Psychic. And then Fracture and Berserker, I think I'm picking up a Malga for one of them, and Inteleon is a big one. It's going to be another a fast mon, and it's also going to be a really good special threat for my team. So I think that's going to round out my team. It's going to be making it a little bit better. And if I had that team, how would you rate that team?
Yeah, I definitely think it's definitely better than what you have. Like, you're dropping the bad Pokemon, you're getting better Pokemon, so that's all I can really say. Like, if you get rid of the bad, you get some good Pokemon, it's gonna be better. Like, you don't have a Dark type, and you're gonna get a Dark type, so like, it's definitely got more advantages. I like the changes.
All right. And
Yeah.
I rated myself 8th, obviously. I
Didn't
couldn't...
rate you second. I'd like some explanations there,
Oh.
Mr. Dinesh X.
Yeah, I didn't ask him that, but I probably should have. He probably just thought, oh, well, he knows how to play low tier. He probably knows what he's doing. I just picked whatever I wanted to use, and then I forgot I had to build a team. So,
Yes.
But yeah, I think mine was around 8th, because it has usable mons, it has usable synergies.
Yeah, I put it 14th because fuck X, so.
Yeah. Anyways, let's move on here. We got the San Jose Sharpedos, which is Raise Your Bonsai's team, and I kind of like this team, and you didn't. So I want to know why you didn't like this team.
He doesn't know how to build around Noivern.
That's it?
That's the bottom line. Like, when you don't build stall Noivern, that's the stupidest thing I've ever seen. You build offense Noivern. It's such a good fast pivot. Why are you building stall plus it? Like, it's a good bulky core, right? Like, it's a good bulky core that loses to sub plus taunt once again. But you picked Noivern round 1. That Noivern doesn't break. It pivots. why? It's such a letdown for a Pokemon that I love so much in the format. To pair it with like your only thing that can hit offensively is Magmortar, and the rest of the thing, nothing else can hit hard. Nothing else hits hard at all. It's like all special. Nothing is that good physically. Like Banded Dusknoir.
Hell
is that a
yeah.
set?
Yeah.
I said like if the G Weezy goes down, this team just gets 6-0'd by Toxic Spikes. Like Umbreon, obviously, Chestnut, Quagsire. Like so many things don't want to take Toxic Spikes. Taunt Sub are just so good against this team. Especially the setup is also really good against this team. There's like no outs to set up on this team besides like Unaware Quag, but that thing can't beat Submons or Top Mons for that matter. Like, come on, Noivern, it's so good on offense.
Okay, well, look, I think the biggest thing for me is I really like the synergy between Noivern and Bronzong being able to kind of help out their weaknesses pretty well. But I can understand it is very stally, and if you're picking up Noivern, you probably should have something at least physically, or yeah, at least something physically to threaten things out. Because right now, as of right now, people can just run all special defense and it's fine. Because there's nothing really physical unless you're bringing Choice Banded Dusknoir. That's it. That's all that threatens out. Or I guess Belly Drum Chestnut, because I've seen that once before and it almost swept someone. But yeah, that's about it for physical offense. You don't have anything, which I think is why I didn't rate it any higher. I think 7th is very generous. So, and Solo put him first, and I actually let me see if
I don't know how Solo puts this in first. Solo fucking loves his offense.
Yeah, I didn't. Oh, damn, I didn't ask him why he put him in first, but
I got this.
Okay.
I'll ping him 23 times in DMs.
I do like the hazards. The hazard and hazard removal are pretty nice. The pivot is also, well, okay, it's kind of the pivot's kind of lacking. You do have Volt Swish and U-turn, and then like Baton Pass on Umbreon, but that's about it. Which is
you got Noivern is like a really, like, that's what I'm saying. Noivern, it can U-turn on pretty much everything because like it does force out enough because it has like good stabs and it can roost up pretty reliably. But like, what are you using to capitalize on it? Magmortar?
Yeah.
You go into a water type and then like what happens? You go into that water type, they go Chestnut, and it clicks Toxic and like GG.
Yeah, that's probably.
I don't know. Yeah, it's like there's just no way to capitalize on how good of an offensive an offensive pivot Noivern is. I don't know. That's my issue with it. That's like my main issue, as well as it being too passive for my liking. Like when I build wall cores, I like it to not be passive because I feel like you lose. I feel like passive walls are just the worst walls. Like I've actually grown to like Weezing G a bit recently, but like Quagsire and Umbreon and Chestnut and Zong, like ugh. Like ever since Zong lost Psywave, it's just become so passive in my opinion.
Yeah, I 100% agree. Although it does have a good attack stat. Like it can do damage if you build it like that.
It can, but like people are just gonna click Toxic with it because this is a generic stall team that has like 6 months with Toxic. They think like that's the only way to beat things, but they don't really sub plus taunter moves. Yeah, that's all I really gotta say about the team.
Okay, no, that's fair. I think your points are definitely valid.
Yeah, and I think that don't get me wrong, the defensive core is really strong for people who don't know how to break something like this.
Yeah, I think as long as
it's kind of like Lucas's team last season, except more passing.
Yeah, that's actually
and still not as good offensive threats. Like it's definitely a worse version in my opinion.
Yeah, I completely agree with that. All right, let's move on here to the 5th spot. We got Arvid's team, the Silvally Swedes, and I actually didn't enjoy this one that much, but we're both kind of middle of the road. And a lot of people put him like 2nd, and Hopeless put him 1st. And this is like, I feel like a lot of the teams in like my top 10 I actually like a lot. Like I think this team's pretty good. Like Blaze, like the speed stairs are not the best. Like I'm one to admit, and I also think it's definitely a decently ground weak. Besides like there's Edgequake weak in general, but outside the Thwacky. I don't know. I feel like Blaziken is just so strong in the format, and I feel like Galvantula and like Thwacky actually support it pretty well, getting webs up, and Thwacky pretty much being any water type. It can beat a lot of the bulky grounds that Blaziken really can't one-shot. I feel like Deontay is also like freely good in low tier, and you guys know my opinion on Steelix. Steelix is the god. Steelix is the GOAT.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I don't know. I feel like he's got good wish pass with Vaporeon into, and they actually synergize pretty well. I don't know. I like the team a lot, but what do you have to say about it? And Drapion can also beat ghost types.
I initially looking at it, I didn't like it, but it has been growing on me. I've been looking at it a lot, and I really don't know why I put it 10th. It probably could have been
I
higher.
feel like I should have also put this one a little bit higher. Like, it's definitely I think it's a really solid team. Like, the speed tiers are like an issue, but like, there's a lot of the mons like Thwacky is priority, and a lot of the mons don't want to be fast. Like Drapion, a lot of times he's not going to always be fast. Blaziken likes to run Flame Charge or Scarf. So like, I don't know. I feel like there's a lot of highs to the team, and I feel like there's a lot of pivot to get in things like the Blaziken, like, like especially mons like because Rotom. I feel like Rotom Frost is like so good with mons like Blaziken because like the ground type can't really come in, or it's just gonna drop to Blizzard. So if you Volt Switch out, the water type can't come in. So you Volt Switch out on what would you expect it to be like a Steel type is usually the best thing to take on Rotom Frost. And then you get Blaziken in, and then you can maybe get a Swords Dance. You can go for a U-turn, go for close combat. Like, I feel like there's a lot of good synergy. If you guys want to know why Deontay is broken, you should ask Panda. He's a big Deontay stan. Like, Calm Mind Draining Kiss on that thing's better than Hatter and Calm Mind Draining Kiss. Don't at me.
I did want to mention as well, you did say that it can Volt Switch and go, and they usually go into their Steel types. The only Steel type that actually can come in on like a Rotom Frost is like Steelix, and he has it, so...
Does it? Steelix doesn't want to take Blizzards, really.
I mean, I'm saying like...
And Steelix is the GOAT, for anyone who doesn't know. Steelix is absolutely broken in low tier, and in general. It's broken in standard.
Yeah, it's so reliable. But I do... Okay, what usually comes in on a Diancie? Like, what, Bulky Waters, right?
Yeah, Bulky Waters usually.
Okay, well, it has Terrain Pulse, and he has Thwacky, so...
No, no, Calm Mind Deontay beats literally any Scald user.
Well, okay, look, I'm just saying, it could come, alright? Weakness Policy, Diancie...
Deontay's actually fucking nuts. That thing grew way too much on me after watching Panda use it, and then we got to use it for ourselves once.
Hey,
got like
it's
6
good.
kills against the team in standard.
Yeah, it's freaking good.
Yeah, I'm a big fan. I also love Mega Deontay, but that's because that thing's really fucking broken. But yeah. Anyways, yeah. Good team. I like it a lot.
Yeah. Yeah.
He's got like, does Blaze get? Actually, I don't think it matters. And Steelix can use high horsepower for Thwacky. I think the Thwacky terrain's pretty nice from this team.
Yeah.
I don't know. He's got the underrated Drifblim terrain core. Like, GOAT. That's never gonna come. It's usually like Willow.
No,
it's probably
could come.
I feel like it's not gonna come usually.
I do also like the defensive core of Vaporeon Steelix because you're able to.
Yeah, Vaporeon's amazing core.
Yeah.
Like any bulky water plus Steelix is good, but like Vaporeon's one of the better ones, obviously.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
All right, next team here we have Kyrax Crooks. Okay.
Unironically, I kind of wish I put the Arvid's team above this team because like.
Yeah.
This team has got like such good like mons, but like, fastest mon base 90. Gross.
That was the main point that Hope was said as well.
Defiant to punish it, like. Why am I talking about removal? What the hell?
What the hell's going on?
I was gonna say there's like he's got decent Scarfers, but like I put this team too high. I'm gonna be the first to admit it. I definitely put this team way too high. Like,
Same.
why did I put this third? Like. I was looking like for Alligator, Chandelure, that's pretty nice. Rotom is really good. Gligar's is actually pretty insane in low tier. He's like Kyra's baby. Alchemy is pretty underrated, and Guzzlord's actually decent in low tier. Probopass is not good in any format. Orbeetle's actually kind of good. I like a lot of the mons, is the thing. I think a lot of the mons are definitely really good. Like, that speed tier is just so awful. Like, I think everything else is just pretty fucking flawless on this team.
Yeah, I can 100% agree with that. The only other thing would be like you're probably not gonna be bringing Probopass too many times, so really your only rocker is like Gligar, but then your only other removal would be Rotom, and that's fine. But they're both weak to ice, and your team in general is pretty weak to freeze dry. Like, it's pretty weak to freeze dry.
It's decently weak to freeze dry. Licky can sponge any freeze dry, so.
Sure, yeah, that's true.
I know Kyrax loves his Licky, so.
Yeah, he uses it pretty well.
I think the team is like, for Alligator's a big threat, and Chandelure's also really good in low tier. I'm surprised you got both of them.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think overall the team is just really solid in general. Like, it's just like Gligar, Rotom, Orbeetle, just pivot into Chandelure and for Alligator. They claim kills. You get a lot of hazards up with Garbodor and shit. Like, you could potentially do like some cheese setups with like Alchemy or like fucking Licky Licky. Like, it definitely seems like it has a lot of advantages to it if it can get going, especially with a lot of the setup mons. There's a lot of good setup on this team, like Orbeetle, Chandelure for Alligator, Alchemy, like even SD Gligar if you want to get crazy. But Gligar is just so bulky. Like, I think it's actually obnoxious in low tier.
Yeah,
You got Chandelure to break ice types.
this team is heavily like you need a. This team really wants hazards up. Like if you don't have hazards up, it kind of lacks because
for like I think the only other thing is I feel like Chandelure or Rotom's gonna have to be scarfed every week, one of the two.
Yeah.
Just because.
Yeah, I would say like you gotta maybe switch up something and get something at least base 100 at least.
Yeah, get something at least like 110, 100, something around that. You need some speed. Because speed's so important.
Yeah, because in low tier, like let's say for instance, if you're versing an Aerodactyl, it can just run all HP, all HP.
It could just be like Stone Edge, Earthquake, Ice Fang, Roost, and like, what's the counter?
Like, how do you break it? You can't because it has max HP.
It's gonna be like really bulky and hit really hard.
Yeah, so, but yeah, that's like the biggest thing. We did rate him third, but we both kind of regret.
Yeah, I
that.
should have been lower.
Yeah,
because that speed tier issue is just so awful.
So the top three teams, well, they're not tied. I believe third for. Yeah,
the top two are tied.
The top two are tied. Yeah, so we'll go over the third one, and then we'll go over both after that, obviously. But yeah, so the next team is going to be the Power Herb Tea, aka Celeste.
All right, I see your low rank on this one. Let me hear what you're gonna say about this one.
All right. All right. So look, I see base 130 speed all the way down to 95, and you know that's fine. But like for instance, if a Pokemon isn't threatened out by Aerodactyl and it's also pretty fast, you can just run max HP on it and not even have to worry about outspeeding Aerodactyl, which could be an issue. Plus Uxie, I mean, it's not going to be running max speed most of the time. You want it to be like defensive. And there was a lot of let me see. I think the other thing was removal. You're focusing really on like Aerodactyl being defog and then like Hitmontop rapid spinning.
Yeah, Hitmontop is pretty much it's gonna be Hitmontop if I were to say.
Yeah, and if Hitmontop doesn't look good in a match, then you kind of just need to suck up, spikes and stuff like that and rocks, and it's kind of annoying. Plus, I don't know why like I know you don't like Ferroseed, right?
Yeah, Ferroseed's pretty bad.
Yeah, I don't know. I just really don't like the look of this team. Maybe because it's not very colorful, and like I've said before, I like really
There's
colorful.
There's the Alolan Muck on your screen. What do you mean?
No, look, it's all like pink. Like look at this team. I know it's Celeste, and I know Celeste likes pink, but like, geez, how many Pokemon need to be pink?
There is a lot of pink. I will agree with that, but I don't know. I feel like there's just so much value in getting like Uxie, Aerodactyl, and Porygon. For guys you don't know, Porygon Z is absolutely broken in low tier. This shit don't got switch-ins. Like, I had Porygon. Aerodactyl's also insane in low tier. Like, I think it's underrated. It should be 18 points. It shouldn't be, but I think it's so good in low tier. Like, it's just so fast, and like Edgequake is so strong in low tier in my opinion. Like, there's not a lot of good like things that can take on Edgequake users in low tier. I think realistically, just everything is checked really well. Like, in the synergy between like Alolan Muck and PZ is like actually pretty nice. Like, Alolan Muck can beat like any ghost type for PZ. Then you can beat the steel types with Gastrodon. You can beat the steel types with Hitmontop. Like, I don't know. I liked a lot of parts of this team. I think the speed tier, that one gap was definitely an issue, and I also just it feels weird in some areas. Let me see. Actually, I think I wrote something down for this one. I was saying that the recovery. Yeah, the recovery wasn't the best on certain mons.
Yeah, there's no Wish
like,
Passer, right? I don't see any.
No. I was talking about like things like Granbull, Uxie, Amok. Like, a lot of them are gonna have to rely on rest, which a lot of them can run rest. But like, I did agree with the fact that they're gonna get this team looks very weak to like just rocks plus spikes in general.
Yeah, and I think a lot of teams, or at least a lot of mons that are bulky and don't have recovery, mean that you kind of need a Wish Passer. Like,
Oh, my last point was this team is fucking destroyed by the hail teams. Like it loses to both of them.
true.
It
very
has
true.
there's no ice resist.
Wow. Yeah.
Besides
Wow.
Fighter.
That's not a nice resist.
I mean,
it ain't,
yeah,
it ain't coming.
look at Arc result versus this, like, freeze dry, bolt beak, win.
Yeah.
GG.
Yeah, that's game. Okay. Yeah. So that's probably yeah, we both
I mean, yeah, like it's definitely I like the team a lot. Like I know you don't like it, but like I also kind of helped building this team, so I take a little bit of bias, but like,
okay.
but I don't know. I think there's some good offensive synergy with some good bulky mons.
I agree. It does have some good offensive synergy, but yeah, I think a Wish Pass would really help this team.
Wish Paths are definitely nice and definitely like something to help out with the ice weakness. Maybe like not a Bear Seed.
Yeah.
And Bear Seed is the only hazard. Is like the well, no, it isn't. It's only Spiker. He's Uxie. Or she. It's my mode. Yeah. That's pretty much. And it's also Aerodactyl, but Aerodactyl usually is on offensive.
Yeah. True. Yeah.
Yeah, that's all I got to say about this team.
All right. So let's move on to the second/first place teams. So the first one we're going to be going over is the Wisconsin Wurmples. And as you can see, there's one person in particular that ranked this team 15th.
Cross L2P, bro. What the fuck is this a 15th team for? Like, I get that there's a fucking Lilleep and Honchkrow that are useless, but like everything else is so good.
All right, so I have notes from him because I wanted to figure out why he put it 15th. So he said, well, he vaguely remembered what he wrote. Pocket Hail came out of nowhere. All immediate physical threats on his team are weak to Fairy, with the exception of Flareon. Besides, Flareon and Zygarde are the only fire resist, which means Flareon will have to come multiple games. No Mons in that 80 base speed tier also is hurt. Also hurts its rankings.
Yeah, so I think me and Xar had like similar ideas of how to improve this team. It was drop Lilleep in Honchkrow for a rock type, another that can set up rocks.
Yeah.
Because Empolion's your only rocker, and your team is good. Because the fire is definitely a big thing. Like it's definitely fire weak. Hail Core, I think adding a Hail Core onto any team in low tier is just a smart play in general. Because it forces so much extra prep. On top of mons that force a lot of prep in general, like Comfey, Articuno Galar is like one of those mons that you don't think you need to prep for. Until you realize if it gets a command up, Freezing Glare plus Hurricane hits really hard.
Yeah, completely agree. And I do agree with Cross's things that he said. However, do you want to bring up the first two Pokemon? Because I know you had a really good thing.
Zygarde 10 plus Comfey is actually a really strong offensive core. Like Comfey, like it's very good until you verse a Poison or Steel type. Like, but Zygarde 10, like you can U-turn into Zygarde 10, and Zygarde 10 is obviously a big threat in low tier, and you just click 1,000 arrows and you get to claim something. Basically, well, not always, but you get to kill the Comfey issues, as well as the fact that like Pangoro that late is just like fucking insane. Like actually, was it late? I'm not looking at the wrong thing. Let me see something. It wasn't decently late, but Pangoro is also just there's just so much you have to prep for.
Yeah.
But just get rid of the fucking Honchkrow and the Lilleep.
Yeah.
Make it a rock type, like... Let me look down the board real quick.
It's super redundant to have another Dark and another Flying when Honchkrow doesn't add anything to your team, and neither does Lily.
Yeah, you already have enough physical breaking.
Yeah.
How many points is Honchkrow?
Honchkrow is...
It's 12 points, like, Jesus.
Yeah, you can grab a 13-pointer. Like, any of them.
You could literally grab, like, drop Honchkrow, drop Lilleep, and you could get, like... Find something. I'm trying to find a good rock type.
Yo,
like, you could even get, like, fucking... You could get Regirock. You could even get, like, Regirock. Like, Regirock's not even that bad. Like, and it gives you a fire resist. It gives you Stealth Rocks. Or even, like, Rhydon. Like, that thing's also pretty good in low tier.
Oh, yeah,
like, if you get one of those... Like, if you just get one of those instead, and then you have extra points, like, those things are only 8 points, you'll still have, like, how many points? You'll have 5 points left, and you can get something like, what else would this team want to have on this team? Maybe another Special Mon? You could grab, like, fucking... I don't know, there's other things that you could grab. Like, if you made those changes, this team would be number 1 for me.
Yeah, I think Rhydon, you said Rhydon, I think Rhydon fits very well because your other ground type is Zygarde, and you don't want to be switching into stuff like Arctozolt with your Zygarde, so it kind of
I
helps
don't really
out.
want to do it with Rhydon either, but
Oh, there's Arctozolt on here, freaking, never mind. But you know what I mean, like anything with coverage that could hit Zygarde, you don't want to switch it, so.
you could get the Go Glaceon. You already have 2 ice types.
Yeah. Yeah, there's
Anyways,
definitely
yeah.
other 5-pointers that fit.
But otherwise,
so.
like I think the offensive synergy is just so nice. Like it's just so strong. And
Yeah.
Comfey is so good in low tier. It's so good.
Yeah, we raised it a ton, and everyone still drafted it, so.
Yeah, people are gonna draft Comfey because it's such an annoying mon. It's such a stupid mon to play. Like it feels unfair at times.
Yeah. I can feel that. Me bringing a Scavalier and still getting swept by a Comfey.
Yeah.
Oh god. Anyways, let's go on to the next team that's also / first place, which is the New Jersey Alters. Basically, Hopeless is big Hopeless here. Yeah. We both had the same idea of putting him first. Then he put him 8th, which I'm kind of concerned why. I don't know why. But do you want to start here? Because I have some ideas, but I'll leave it till
Yeah,
then.
I think like Swampert, Crobat, like Florges, like fucking like Copperaja. There's so much momentum again, like the Medicham and shit, like or like a Bandit or Specs Decidueye. Like Decidueye is actually fucking insane, by the way. Like Specs, Bandit, setup, it's actually nuts. And Persian is just like the perfect glue for this team. It's so offensive, and you can just parting shot out and one of your offensive threats. I don't know. It just seems so good. Everything about it is good, in my opinion.
Yeah, a lot of
tiers are super solid. Like rockers are good. Like rockers like Copperaja and Swampert pretty much always can get them up.
I like this team. I like this team as well. Mainly also because like a lot of the physical mons could also be special. A lot of special mons could also be physical. I mean, more options is always better. Stuff like the Medicham, obviously. I mean,
yeah, I also grew to. I've gained some bit of respect for Electivire.
Yeah, Electivire is great.
After playing it in Red Red.
yeah, same.
Plasma Fist, close to combat, electric fighting type.
Oof.
Mach Punch as well. Broken. Anyways, in serious note, I'd actually gained a bit of respect for it from last season.
Yeah, Electivire. Honestly, I think it was another Pokemon that was a little under tiered, just like Golurk, where could have moved up. I think it was like 9 points, which is super good for what it brings to the table. Like it has 2 pivot moves, Volt Switch and Teleport. It can teleport, which is pretty cool. Probably wants to hit things, but anyways, the main thing that I would say you could change, and I did bring this up to him already, is switch out Medicham for like Gallade, because Gallade okay, there's only 2 Pokemon on this team that have knockoff, Persian and Decidueye, and knockoff, like we said before, is super good, so having Gallade being a really reliable knockoff.
I feel like Medicham's better though. Like Medicham's, I feel like there's so much momentum to getting like a better breaker in Medicham compared to Gallade. Like knockoff helps, but like Persian is a really good knockoff user, and like I get you want knockoff, but I feel like Medicham looks so good on this team, especially considering the fact that it doesn't have like, I don't know. I don't know. I like Medicham personally better. Well, but Gallade could all work.
Okay, look, they're the same speed tiers. Gallade has 125 attack, so has technically more than, unless I'm doing this wrong.
No, Medicham is pure power.
Yeah, but it has 60, right? So
no, it definitely does not have 60.
It has 60 attack. It has 60 attack. So Gallade is just better overall. Look at their stats.
Well, I don't think that's not how pure power works though as well.
Alright, well,
pure power works. Pure power works. It doubles the attack stat that like your attack stat. So Medicham with a max attack adamant is 240, so it's 480 attack.
That's fair. Well,
it definitely is more, but I can see Gallade.
The main thing I would also say is like Gallade has well, number one, it's the same point thing, but also it has more stuff like Swords Dance. It has more moves just in general. Because like
the only reason I didn't see it is because I feel like you more want a breaker than a setup sweeper in this last slot, because there's so much setup already on this team. Like you can run like Nasty Bat, you can run like what else you got? You got Charizard, you can run Belly Drum, Calm Mind Florges, Bulk Up Swampert, Swords and Decidueye, and Nasty Plot to Decidueye, Curse Copperaja. There's a lot of setup already in my opinion.
Yeah,
a lot of it isn't that good, but like
I don't. I'm not saying it's bad. Like I think both work. I was just saying
So drop the
in,
Ivysaur, by the way.
no, Ivysaur's fine for 1 point.
No, it isn't.
It's well, okay. I think Metacham is fine. I was just saying like you only have 2 knockoff users, and Decidueye, I mean, it usually doesn't run knockoff because
It can run knockoff.
it has
depends
too
on the
many
meta.
moves though. Usually,
When Decidueye's bulky, I like to run knockoffs and get rid of like boots, but like usually you don't want to run knockoff. I will agree with that.
yeah, and then you just have Persian, obviously, and then that's kind of it. Where like the meta, I guess, for low tier is you want knockoff users because knocking off. I mean, look
Yeah, a
at
lot
this
of
team
things
versus
like
knockoff.
really need the power input from like Life Orb and shit in low tier.
Yeah, like look at this team versus knockoff. Knockoff have dude boots Crobat, Charizard. It hits
Persian's a good
Decidueye.
knockoff switching.
Yeah, fair, and Florges, I guess,
And
but
or just calls big knockoff. Doesn't really care about losing its item usually.
yeah, but it's super annoying, is what I'm saying. Like,
Yeah,
just
it
in
definitely
general.
is gonna be annoying. Knockoff's always knockoffs. It's hard to like call teams like super knockoff week because every team's gonna be knockoff week. Nothing wants to lose an item. Like
Yeah.
there's some teams that are extra knockoff week. Like nothing wants to lose an item. Like you want sometimes to have a pivot to knockoff.
True. But yeah, we both rated them first, so that's yeah. Honestly, I think we went over everything. I do like how he covered all the necessary typings, being like dark and like fairy,
Yeah,
pretty well.
It seems it's like a good round team. Like Florges is bad, but like, whatever. It can sometimes work in low tier.
Yeah, it's like a Wish Passer as defog, like it helps.
I think it's better as like a Specs or Combine user.
No, we'll see.
That's also nice for Copper Aja.
Yeah. Swampert and Copper love Wish from this.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I think overall a lot of these teams were pretty good. Some bad teams. Fucking. Okay, no. All your teams are great. I hope you guys all come back next season and draft amazing teams. I will never say something bad about your team again. Trust me.
Well, honestly, a lot of these teams look nice on paper. We just need to see how everyone plays because, like, something could look really good and they just don't know how to use team.
For reference, I want you guys to know post-draft power rankings mean nothing.
Yes.
Do not take they mean absolutely nothing. You can get ranked 15th and still win the entire league.
Yeah.
All we're saying is your team is bad. Like it's not a big deal.
It's just our opinion. What do we do?
It's just our analytical opinion as professional Pokemon draft league analyzers that your team needs a bit of work. But that does not mean you are not a good player and you can still do well in the league.
Yeah.
Because that's how Pokemon works. You can luck every game and win the league as well. Like you could be 16th, but you can luck everyone as well. You could be first and you could just be a bad player. Like that's how it works.
Yeah,
that's
just
why
look at Hopeless. He's for yeah.
The same thing.
Anyways, let's leave off here. We've been here for an hour and a half. Okay, this is kind of going too long. All right,
I gotta eat.
All right, my bad. So, that is it for the Excadrill division, guys. The Dribbler division should be coming right after. I probably will only put these up as soon as we're done with both, just because last time it took a little bit. So, good luck in all your games, everyone. I know a lot of people have started already, so yeah, good luck, guys.
Except for Xbox, a fucking genre.
True, very true. So, yeah, we'll see you guys next time. Peace.